of corrupt things. You know, who was it that got the offerings that were given to the Lord? Who received those offerings? The priests, because the tribe of Levi was not given any part of the land, right? Okay, and so, by the way, I just learned this today. I had never put this together before, but all the rules for the priesthood are actually in the book of what? Leviticus. What's the first four letters of Leviticus? Levi. I had never put that together before. I mean, is that dumb? Levi, well, that was the tribe. They were the priests, and all the rules for the priesthood are in Leviticus. Amazing. All right, and then the next book of the next book of the Bible is Numbers. Now, when you read the book of Numbers, how do you feel? Numb. Exactly. There you go. Man, this is. I mean, we need to learn Scripture here. That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was great. Base before all peoples, the Jews. We know the Jews. I mean, even today. I mean, the Holocaust. They are base before all peoples, and God is fulfilling that promise. Have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenants of our fathers? Judah hath dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah hath profaned the holiness of the Lord which he loved, and hath married the daughter of a strange god. This is what Nehemiah was so upset about, was that they had allowed, well, everybody, they were divorcing their Jewish wives and marrying some of the Palestinian hotties. That's what they were doing. And they were divorcing their Jewish wives to do this.
They have hotties?
Well, apparently back then they did. But you're right. The Lord will cut off the man. Cut off. What does cut off mean? What is the Lord will cut off the man that doeth this? What does cut off mean? Kill, execute. That Messiah will be cut off. What does that mean? He's killed. He will cut off the man that doeth this, the master and the scholar, out of the tabernacles of Jacob, him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts.
Why would the heathens want to marry into the Jewish nation?
Well, I don't know, but maybe because they were blessed. Why did I have this here? Married the daughter of a strange god. There are strange gods out there, all right? And one of the things, I watched a DVD this past week, I'm not going to show it to you now, but it talked about the god Dionysius, which is interesting because the name Dennis is a derivative of this god Dionysius. Dionysius, and there's another god. How many of you know anything about Dionysius? No, of course not. We're not taught that. We're not taught about these strange gods. How about the god Mithra? Mithraism. And so I'm watching this DVD, and this guy who used to be a Christian and decided that Christianity is a hoax and Jesus never did exist, is saying that Christianity merely borrowed all of these ideas from the gods that were there around the time of Christ, from Dionysius and from Mithra. And then what he does is he interviews Christians, and he comes up to them and says, well, do you know the origins of your faith? And people will go, well, from the Bible. And he says, well, do you know anything about Dionysius?
No.
No. Well, do you know anything about Mithra? No. And then he proceeds to make Christians look foolish in this thing because they don't know any of this stuff. And there are some similarities about with Mithraism. They would be saved by the shedding of blood. And so what this guy says is, well, they just borrow that from Mithraism, except that in Mithraism it was the blood of a bull that was shed, and you had to actually eat the bull. You had to actually they would bite the carcass of the bull, and they would drink its blood. And this is part of and they say, so well, the same thing happened in Christianity in communion. They would actually eat the flesh. Now with Catholics, see, Catholicism brought that in. And so the doctrine of transubstantiationism come in. And so when you do communion and you take the wafer, you are actually what? You are actually eating his body. And so there is this syncretism, there's this combination of Mithraism that is more in Catholicism than there is in Christianity, because we understand that all that Jesus was doing is saying, this do in remembrance of me till I come. I'm not going to drink the fruit of the vine until until he comes again. And when he does, I hope it's a Cabernet. All right. The Lord will cut off the man that doeth this, the master and the scholar out of the tabernacles, and him that offereth an offering to the Lord of hosts. Strange God, Dagon. Remember Dagon? A strange God back there in the Old Testament. Remember when the Ark of the Covenant was put in? The Ark of the Covenant was put in the same place where this fish god had a statue, and the Philistines, when they came in the next morning, the statue had fallen over, and then they put it up again. Yep. They put it up, and then on the third time they came in, and that statue was just in pieces all over the place. This strange god, and it's interesting. This fish idea, that was how the Dagon priests, they would put this fish over their head, and I can't. The hat of the Pope it's one of these fish hats.
Yeah.
It's like there has been this combination of strange God that has come into the Roman Catholic Church. I'm sorry, folks, but that's that background. They've brought in stuff from strange religions, actually eating the flesh, actually drinking the blood. This fish head thing, I'm telling you, it's amazing how much is there. Now, Christianity finally came out of that in the Reformation when we finally started getting the Bible and started reading it for ourselves. Thanks to Tyndale, poor guy, he was executed.
One of the symbols of Christianity is a fish.
It is. That's true. It is a fish, and it was also a symbol for Mithra. But what December 25th, there was December 25th used to be the Sol Invictus. It was the day that they would worship the birth of the sun. And this happened before Christmas came on. And then I think it was Diocletian, who was the emperor, said, now we are not going to worship the birth of the sun. We're going to worship on December 25th the person who created the sun. But there are those who look back and say, see, you Christians, you worship the birth of Christ on December 25th. Don't you know that had a heathen origin? Well, yeah, it did. Because if I were to ask you, do you think Jesus was really born on December 25th of the year 4? We don't know that. We've just adopted that as the day, and that day actually had a heathen origin, but we took it over. Now, same thing with Sunday, by the way. Same thing with Sunday, because you could claim Sunday was the day that Mithra, the god of the sun, was worshipped, and some people will say, well, that's why you worship on Sunday and not on Saturday, like the Sabbath. Whole different story on there. But the point is, there are strange gods, and they are still involved in some. Well, we got to be careful of why we do things. I want us to know why we do certain things. All right. And this, did I read this already? No. And this have ye done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that ye regardeth not the offering anymore, or receive it with good will at your hand. In other words, what he's saying to the priests is, watch your heart as you do your worship stuff. What ye say, wherefore? Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. It's talking about here, about these men who divorced their wives and married these the heathens. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed? Therefore take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. For the Lord, the God of Israel, saith that he hateth putting away. And that's the name for divorce. He hateth putting away, for one covereth violence with his garment, saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore take heed to your spirit, that ye deal not treacherously. Ye have wearied the Lord with your words, and yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? Well, when you say, every one that doeth evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delighteth in them. Or where is the God of judgment? Where is the God of judgment? You see, do you sense out there that there are some in the Christian world who say everyone will be saved? whatever you believe is good as long as you believe it with faith, right? If you have faith,